Alright guys, bikes are all washed up. Here's the result. Let's get this duct tape peeled off. You don't want to leave this on too long because it can transfer the residue. Let's get to tearing these puppies apart. Tools I like to use are the M12 Milwaukee series. They're perfect, not a whole lot of torque, and I do have some T-handles. Okay, what next? Could probably start with the tank. Looks like I need an Allen key. Don't forget your tank strap. And then just toss it in the pile. Kind of lift the tank, see what we're dealing with. There's no pressure behind it. There. That just pops off like that. I know you guys can't see this, but you just stick your nail in and they pop open. And there is a plug-in on the wiring harness for the injector. Or for the fuel pump, sorry. Feel around until you feel the tab. Give it a little push, a little wiggle, and it just pops out. Alright guys, I did a little bit of work. You guys wouldn't have been able to see it. On the back of the throttle body, you gotta undo the intake boot, and on the back of the intake boot, there is an intake air temperature sensor wire. I don't know if you can see my finger, but it's back in here. It needs to be undone. So, on this bike, looks like it's all Allen keys for the subframe. We can start undoing it and kind of work as we go to undo everything else. Okay, so we have another bolt holding the airbox in, and that looks like a 8mm. And there is your subframe. I'll thread that back in. That slides out. This one just slides up. Okay, that just bends up. There's part of your harness. Oops, slow pressure. Just like that. There's your airbox. Time to get this back on the stand. Usually I'd put it on the lift stand, but my 125 is currently occupying that. To be continued. Make sure nothing's going to get caught up in the wheel. Alright, let's take the chain off. And now find your master link. Which, luckily, is right there. Be sure not to hit them too hard. These little guys like to take a flight. And this is an O-ring chain. So I might have to use a screwdriver. It does sound like that he is putting a new chain on. Oh yeah, it's time for a new chain. It definitely shouldn't kink like that. Let's do the rear wheel. I have my 32 mil and a breaker bar. Alright, next we're going to start with the rear brake. I'd switch it over to Super View just to try it. So, Phillips to undo these clamps, or guides I guess. And the guy that did the washing didn't do quite a good job. Oh, it's not that bad. There's no lock nut or pin on the back side like some. I think the Hondas have them. Should give you enough to undo your spring. Try not to lose that. Or drop that. We could put a zip tie right around here just to hold that washer in there. That way we don't lose it. Got a 22 mil. We're going to start taking off the swing arm, suspension, and 14 mil. Mud. The guy that washed it did a job. Alright guys, battery had died. I had to go and swap it out. It should be in this drawer. A punch, a little heavier hammer. Now it doesn't quite fit inside. And as I thought, it needs a little loving. So this should be ready to come out. There's your swing arm. Really not a whole lot left. And should be a 17 mil. Roller's in okay shape, still rolls, it's not seized. Into the bottle. So these are some of the parts we're going to powder coat. We're going to strip the bearings out. Grab our trusty 8 mil and our 10 mil. Kind of just lay it there. Now we gotta see what the front caliper is gonna need to come off. I'm just gonna assume it's 10 mil and I'm wrong. It's an Allen key. Okay, what do we got? Throttle housing. Should just be a pinch bolt or two Phillips. Sorry you guys can't see. Come on. Perfect. Okay, now we have to undo the clutch, which we have an 8 mil on. Okay, bars can come off. And now look for the 10 mil I've probably lost. It's in my pocket. Now we can start working on this front end. We got the bike all tore down. This is what we're left with. We got the frame. All I've got left is the peg mounts. We got to pull out the stem bearings. We got the motor, whole pile of parts. We're going to organize these on what's got to be powder coated and sandblasted and what isn't. As well, we got the wheels and tires to strip down. Kyle had asked if I could do the hubs and the rings. We're going to check bearings on the swing arm, see if he's got to order any of those.
Stay tuned in for part 2 of the teardown. In this, we will tear down a 23 MC85 as well, press out bearings and break down the parts further.